Hi there, welcome back. This is Nisha Manek, and I've been speaking to science and bridging it to ultimate reality, which is spirit. But I want to take a few next videos to talk about the scientific method, because let's face it, you and I look to science to not only understand our environment and nature, the world, but also to inform us how to live. I mean, you and I are actually scientists in that sense. For example, I wake up at 6 a.m. I woke up at 6 a.m. today, it's Sunday. Good morning. And I pay attention to the science of clock time to watch. And then I keep my temperature in the home at 72 degrees because I know that's comfortable and that I won't have a huge bill at the end of the month. I also know to take my vitamin D. Excuse me while I do that. So I know to take my supplements on a regular time. I wear my seatbelt when I get in the car. I drive an old car, so I know that a full tank of petrol or gas is going to take me from point A to point B. I can get to Arizona if I wanted to. So all of these things, where I get up, when I take my vitamins, my home, clean water, okay? All of these are aspects that science has informed me. I can talk to you right now and know that it's being recorded and it will be shared so that you too can realize that everything you do in your life is actually being informed by science. There's no difference. Okay. And so I want to also then talk to you what's top on mind, on my mind and your mind, who's watching this, about immunity, about infection control, because that is on everyone's mind. It's winter and things come and go. This infection, that infection comes and goes. So I want to talk to you about that. Very short, very succinct things that you can do that is informed by science that keeps you healthy. Welcome back. This is Nisha Manek, author of Bridging Science and Spirit. What is top of mind on everyone's consciousness is, how do I reduce infections? I don't want infections, and so we look to science, and I'll tell you this. The science of vitamin D is absolutely exceptional, okay? Vitamin D. I take mine every day. And the science is very clear on that. Vitamin D is amazing for immune health. Just imagine in your mind for a moment the T cells, the B cells, the macrophages, the internal army doing its thing, repelling invaders, gobbling up the viruses, getting rid of them. And the time from, if you do get infection, okay, if you take your vitamin D, it shortens the time to full recovery. Shortens the time to recovery, okay? You don't even need a prescription. No one needs to tell you this, but it's there for you. And so, apart from immune health, I did a mental gymnastics, and I encourage you to do the same thing. If you're watching this, pause the video on YouTube or wherever you are watching this and time it for 1 minute and write down as much as you can whatever comes to your mind of what vitamin D can do. And actually, I did this exercise. I did mental gymnastics and wrote down as much as I could about vitamin D. So pause the video and come back to this 1 minute exercise, whatever you can think what vitamin D can do for you. Fade in and out, Cheyenne. Welcome back to this mental gymnastics exercise of what vitamin D can do. And I actually did this exercise for 5 minutes. I actually did that. And I'm going to go over to the document that I found. And so pardon me while I read my own contributions. So vitamin D is not your average vitamin. It is a powerhouse that powers up your T cells, B cells, macrophages, which are really your internal army. And the one thing that all of these army generals and your soldiers have in common is that vitamin D is required for them to function at their best. Adequate vitamin D. So, okay, so you know that, yes, and what else? So, vitamin D balances your body's immune system and uh, prevents it from going into overdrive. So, vitamin D is really important for your body's immune system's army. All the soldiers and the generals and all of those things to act in concert. T cells, B cells, macrophages, which gobble up the viruses and getting rid of them. In other words, the common denominator for your immune system to work well is vitamin D. All right. And here's the fact vitamin D, if you get infection, okay, but it increases turnaround. It reduces time to recovery, to getting rid of the infection overall. So I did an exercise over 5 minutes and I said, okay, yes, and what else can vitamin D do that's beneficial? And I was absolutely surprised. And I want to share these. So I'm going to read off my little document I wrote. I wrote a newsletter on this. Vitamin D, a sufficient level, a good level of vitamin D reduces your body going into overdrive. It's good to have a good level and balancing the immune system, but you don't want your immune system to be in inflammation all the time. Well, it turns out this vitamin reduces your risk for developing, get this, rheumatoid arthritis. Isn't that amazing? For me as an immunologist, this is absolutely sensational. You know, people always ask me, but Dr. Manek, I don't want to get rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and all this and that. That's important. That's really important if you have a family history of rheumatoid arthritis. So I get that question quite a lot. I don't want to develop it. What can I do right now that reduces my risk of developing rheumatoid arthritis? So one of the first things I tell them is make sure you get enough vitamin D. All right, we're going to keep going on that gymnastic exercise. What can vitamin D do for you that science tells us? You can fade in and out. So I'm sure you came onto this. That is, this nutrient is really important for bone health, strong bones. It is like the internal architecture of the calcium in your bones and keeping them strong. And it's not that your bones are like stiff, it's like an architecture. It bends every time you move and walk. It bends just a little bit to take the impact of your gait as you're walking. So your bones are actually quite flexible and vitamin D ensures that flexibility. All right, so it's like a pillar. And I'll tell you, vitamin D helps that bone structure to be like steel. When you look at a building, it is swaying just a little bit in that wind and all of this environmental forces that are acting on it. Like that, vitamin D is acting on your bones to make them flexible, and that's scientific. You can fade in and out. So let's keep going on that 5 minutes, what I came up. Yes, and vitamin D emerges as a remarkable ally in maintaining normal blood pressure. Whoa, whoa. We think about exercises maintaining your blood pressure, maintaining your normal weight, meditation. Well, it turns out that vitamin D, a normal level, maintains the blood pressure and lowers, get this, lowers your heart uh, disease risk. That's awesome. Okay. I want to have a disclaimer for this videos is that they are for informational purposes.